are struggling to keep items on the shelves.
Supply chain issues are behind shortages, and workers tell us the logistics for the food industry are the most challenging they've ever seen. 13 News reporter Mariah Davis explains what some of the issues are.
Here at Buzz Food Service in Charleston, owner Dickinson Gould says he's grateful his business has been able to stay afloat with loyal workers to execute orders. The same can't be said for other companies he buys products from.
We're hearing from so many of our suppliers in the industry is that it's really available staff for picking orders in a warehouse setting and certainly making deliveries over the road.
The lack of workers is such a problem. Manufacturers are scaling back on the products they make for consumers.
So they used to make 50 different items, and they're telling us all that's available right now is their 10 best-selling items.
And one of the best examples Gould can give,
the Port of Los Angeles is a major entry point for anything manufactured in China. Historically, there's an average of 4 container ships in the bay waiting to be unloaded in Los Angeles. 4 ships. Last week, there were more than 80 ships.
With thousands of products waiting to be unloaded from the ships, it's leaving the grocery store shelves nearly empty. Customers are left with fewer options to choose from. Crackers and napkins have been a major challenge for the food industry.
Most of the restaurants that we deal with are calling us and asking us for things that we don't sell and that they've never bought from us. And that's just definite proof that there's a breakdown in the supply chain.
No workers means no products, and it's really starting to show. In Charleston, I'm Mariah Davis, 13 News, working for you.
Good afternoon, everybody. This is the Roaming Prepper, and thank you for joining me today. This will be a pre-recorded Saturday SitRep. I will be out and about. I actually have some family fun stuff to do. But I did want to leave the chat on. So even though I may or may not make the premiere, I will leave the chat on because to me, that's one of the fun parts of YouTube is everybody kind of commiserating in the corner and making snarky comments to each other. I figured I'd open with that particular piece. Let's take a look at this again. And this one came from, bear with me just a second. Oh, sorry. This one came from local DVM News, West Virginia. So WDVM in Virginia had this report. And I got to tell you guys, it's typical of what we're seeing. We are seeing a disruption is an understatement. Right now, the supply chain is absolutely in chaos. As you heard in the end of this this one report we just watched, this individual was saying, "Oh yeah, we're going to have." Normally, we only have 4 ships waiting to dock, and now we have 30. There's ships on both coasts are backlogged. Some of them are trying to get into the Gulf of Mexico and head for docks such as New Orleans or to Houston or even to Galveston. But the capacity is limited, and moving the ship around the United States takes days and days. That is not a quick proposition. It's expensive, and it may not benefit. They may be cheaper and better off just staying where they are until they can move. Part of the reason we had that oil leak on the California coast last week is because there were so many ships basically anchored offshore that they were getting confused as to where they were and were not supposed to be. And it appears that one of those ships dropped an anchor on an oil pipeline. They should never have been near that. They should have been marked, but they may be absolutely confused. So the supply chain, not fun for us today, guys. It's we're going to continue to see these problems. We're going to continue to see this stuff. We can't affect the supply chain as a whole, but you can take individual action to make your situation better. If you have not done your Christmas shopping yet, now's a great time to do it. Do not wait for Thanksgiving. Do not wait for Black Friday. They can barely keep tuna on shelves sometimes. Fancy stuff may or may not be there. Now, cars are still lacking. I've been to dealerships in multiple cities out here in Texas, big cities and small, and the lots are full of the wrong manufacturer's cars that are all used. So if you go to Ford, you might see 3 or 4 new Fords, and the rest are all trade-ins that are spread out really far across the parking lot so as to make the lot look full. Reality, it's not. So guys, these are things, this is the kind of stuff folks prepare for. This is the whole premise behind preparedness. It's for things that unexpectedly happen that affect your quality of life. So if people come, and I've been seeing a lot of new preppers in the chats and in the videos saying, oh, well, people are saying I'm crazy, I'm a hoarder, whatever. Although that seems to be a lot less this year, because after everyone went through last year, people are not so belligerent. They're a little more warm to the idea of, oh, so how do you save food and how do you store rice? They're kind of getting it now. But it took a global incident for people to realize that. And there are a lot of people who are still not on board. Preparedness, folks, you try to mitigate the effect of negative outcomes or the effect of negative incidents and minimize the negative outcomes you get by preparing in advance. That's the whole premise to what we do. So to those of you who are newer, or those of you who may be mentoring newer folks, remember that the whole idea is to have the amenities you need to get through a situation functionally. It doesn't have to be a global incident. It doesn't have to be a supply chain issue. It can be you got laid off. It could be, God forbid, you had a house fire, or heaven forbid, you lose a family member. And now you go from 2 incomes to 1. You go from a family to a single parent. These are catastrophic life incidents. If you have the food, the clothing, the materials at the house, it gives you a little peace of mind knowing that I can get by and I don't have to worry about getting toothpaste for the kids because we've got a little stash. So I just wanted to start off with that because I've seen a few preppers that I know getting heat from people who are not into preparedness, who say, well, you're hoarders. No. Hoarders buy everything last minute. They leave it all over the floor. They don't cycle it. They don't organize it, and they trip on it. Okay, if you have shelves and everything's organized and labeled and being rotated, that's not hoarding. That's stocking. And to be honest, society as a whole, humanity as a whole, did this for eons, up until the last 100 years. So don't be ashamed of doing it again. And yes, for those of you who are asking, I will get the canning gear soon. I do want to join Ghost and the Canimals and the whole group. God, I don't even remember who was there. I think it was Tribe, Milkmaid, and there were a bunch of other people. There were folks going in and out, Grace. So hopefully, maybe not this week, but next week, I'll have all the goodies I need. But guys, this is the whole premise. It's a quality of life thing. You want your life quality to be okay while you're going through this. So a less important issue, but significant none the same, is the holidays. We're in October now. November, December, guys. We got 2 months. Christmas is here. Christmas should not be a surprise. Happens the same time every year. Thanksgiving, not a surprise. Same time every year. Okay? Those are not surprises. An earthquake, a meteor, an alien attack, that's a surprise. This is not a surprise. So, and I apologize once again for my sinuses. We had a dust storm out here in Texas, and it just killed me this afternoon. By the way, prep allergy meds. Not the ones that decay in time, the solid pills. They work really well, and they last. Supply chain havoc is getting worse, just in time for holiday shopping. And they say the most popular holiday gifts might not arrive in time for the holidays, even if you order today. That was posted actually, today. Or yesterday, sorry. So Best Buy has revealed a curious way to cash in on worldwide shortages and shipping delays. Subscriptions. This week, the company announced a $200 a year program that promises consumers lower prices and exclusive access to hard-to-find devices. While the new membership also includes 24/7 tech support and free shipping, the idea of guaranteed product availability is appealing. So these guys, what they're doing is saying, we have limited supply, so instead of putting it out for everyone in the store, we're not going to do that. But if you're an elite member, or whatever these are supposed to be, the $200 a year member, guess what? You have your own little shopping spree. We will reserve the special items for you guys for $200. So interesting spin. It annoys me that Best Buy is doing it, but I get it because there's a premium there and they're having to deal with it. So the new Best Buy service is a stark reminder that retailers don't anticipate that supply chain issues, including the global semiconductor chip shortage, are going away anytime soon. So guys, this is not a surprise, right? This is not a holy cow, where did this come from? We've been talking about this. We've been seeing the empty car lots since May, right? Back in May, I was in Hoover Dam looking at the water going, being my engineer self going, that water's too low. And lo and behold, 2 months, and I made a little video, a few of us did. Hey, energy supply, bam, 2 months later. So once again, we've been talking about the chip shortage. We've been talking about getting food, buying your Christmas gifts. Now it's on Vox. Vox is not a high-end technical news. Okay, this is more like I don't know, Vogue for hipsters. I don't know what this magazine is. It's a fashion magazine and they do like lifestyle stuff, but still, it says, not only that, it goes on to say a supply crunch for petrochemicals, which are used in everything from paint to plastics, has raised prices on all kinds of products. Now, this is important for everyone to understand. The oil industry, you cannot do modern plastics, for the most part, without petroleum products. As a matter of fact, the reason Dawn dish detergent cleans penguins so well of oil is that it is a derivative of, it is an oil-based soap. That's why it takes grease out so well. So, and the bottle that it's in is actually a petroleum byproduct. Not only that, you also get, I believe it's Coke. They call it Coke. There's an actual technical name for it, but it is a component in aluminum foil. So as they push back on the oil and gas industry, but they're not taking into account not only adding extra capacity in wind, solar, etc. for electricity, but all the chemicals that come from petroleum that make things like plastic, aluminum, foil, and so on. So these geniuses are actually making decisions that are making the problem worse. And you can see it here. You've got labor-related issues. You've got a lack of availability of empty containers. You've a lack of space in the vessels that they can man. You have a lack of drivers. It just goes on and on. We're going to keep seeing this. Do your shopping now. Do it on payment plans. Do it on prepaid cards, whatever it is. This may be one of those years you may want to decide, you know what, screw it. I'm getting everyone a $100 gift card and you all get your own shit. Nothing wrong with that. But keep in mind, if you're going to get someone something special and you want that laptop or you want that PS5, what's the PS5 now? PS5 or whatever it is you got, now's the time to do it. While retailers are racing to import the goods and gadgets they think consumers, let me expand that so you guys can see it, will want during the holiday shopping season, the growing list of shortages has made it difficult for them to find enough stock. And for the next 6 months to a year, we just won't see the same variety of products that we're used to, according to Patrick Penfield, a supply chain professor at Syracuse University. I've got ties to Syracuse University, and I might email Professor Penfield and see if I can get him on the channel. He may or may not come on because these guys are busy, but it would be freaking cool. But still. And then gadgets are vulnerable. And here they even mention it. Consider the parts, all the parts that go into a PlayStation 5 or a new laptop or whatever it is. Screens, outer shells, you know, even the cables that go to your mouse. These are all going to be an issue, guys. So Let's be smart. Pick your battles, right? We all have finite money. I mean, if someone's out there and has infinite money, more power to you. God bless you. But we have finite money, we have finite time, and the longer time goes on, the more people will start buying, and it's going to put pressure on the available supply. Do your shopping now. I would recommend at the end of this video, grab a notepad, write down your relatives you plan to get gifts for, make a list and start getting the gifts, even if they're small. As a matter of fact, you may even want to call all your family or email them or text them and say, hey guys, considering how hard times are, how about we do a $20 limit per gift or a $10 limit per gift, or we do a white elephant or have some other kind of fun, and put some realistic boundaries so you're not spending a bunch of time out in the chaos. So just my thought on how to manage. And again, that becomes managing not the power of the buyer, which I've mentioned in my past videos, but you're dealing with the lack of substitutes, right? If you can't find laptops, well, now you can give a gift card instead. So you're trying to manage finding substitute ideas to deal with the situation. And like I said, the 5 forces of business absolutely apply to life. They apply to your household and they can apply to prepping. So if you haven't seen that, check out some of my older videos. But in any case, let me spin up another article here. And I found some really interesting ones. Now, this fellow, this is in Forbes, actually, and he takes a pretty good whack at our leadership. Inflation, supply chain disruptions, dysfunction in Washington, and the new workers' mindset. And I don't know what that is quite yet. I don't know how to describe it better said. High inflation, supply chain disruptions, and non-constructive partisan rhetoric, and a surge of Delta variant have led to a disappointing job numbers in September this year, 2021. Labor Department said that employment only rose by 194,000 as opposed to anticipated 500,000 new jobs. That's a lot weaker. Let's see what these guys say. Oh, well, it helps volume help.
94,000, that is real low. Consensus of 500,000. August was revised up a bit, so 366,000. Let me go to the jobless rate. In this case, where the jobs weren't is what we're trying to figure out. It was definitely a weaker number than expected, with I think the factors that were enumerated just before we went into the number being responsible here. You still have the COVID issues. Let me see now. I've got 194 overall. Private is 317. It means there was a big decline in the government here. I'm going to go right down to that as we're talking to find the government area here. Government minus 123 with a big decline in local government education. So I guess you had the addition in August, came off in September. That leisure and hospitality at 74,000. That's not the kind of numbers we need from that sector to drive the employment that we need. I'm going to see if I can find retail here. Well, just one real quick. Yeah, nothing.
So once again, guys, what you're seeing, erratic market. Now, the graph is from yesterday, so that's not going to tell you much. But unemployment is not declining the way it should. New jobs are not happening. A lot of people either are not coming to work or they can't go to work because their kids are at home because they shut down the schools. There's a lot of facets. It's not like, oh, these people aren't doing what they're supposed to. How do we deal with that? I don't know. And now we've got these mandates in place where a lot of people are saying, I'm just going to quit my job. I'm going to go do something else. And this blows my mind. We're perpetuating the problem with our own decisions. But anyway, so if you want to check this one out, this is Forbes.com, and it was, I believe it was written by Jack Kelly. Yeah, Jack Kelly. He writes some really good articles, so if you get a chance to check him out. I'm a big fan of Forbes and Bloomberg Business, not Bloomberg, the politician. He annoys me. But I try to keep an open mind even so. Yeah, it's going to be disrupted, and that's going to lead to problems on Black Friday. So, what does Maria Baratomo have to say? I believe that's Maria. Let's see what she can tell us.
Early this holiday season, sales are up 19% this year, totaling $11 billion in sales so far. And toy makers are seeing high consumer demand as well, but supplies are down because of the shipping crisis. Joining me right now is the Toy Insider Editor-in-Chief, Marissa Silva. Marissa, great to see you. Thanks very much for being here. Tell us about the issues the toy makers are seeing. We continue to hear about this supply disruption.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Roughly 80% of toys are made in China. So we're really reliant in the toy industry on importing goods. And so obviously toys are really being impacted by the shipping crisis in a big way.
Yeah, so what should people do? What are the tips that you know of for parents looking to buy toys, knowing what we're up against this holiday?
Yeah, one of the biggest things is to shop right now. Get the kids to make those wish lists early, because right now we're seeing that initial.
Okay, now I just want to point out the tips she puts here, and I watched this video a little while ago before I brought it online. This is very similar to what we've been saying to do about your preparedness situation. Shop early, check the stores frequently. You may not find chicken this week. You may find it next week. You may find pork this week. You get what I'm saying. Don't go once and go, oh, it's not here. Also, you may want to adjust your budget. Eat out less, buy more groceries. If you do order online, make sure you check the ship dates, right? You don't want your food sitting in a warehouse for too long. So this stuff not only applies to the toy purchasing, it's going to apply to you in general, purchasing other stuff. So just keep that in mind.
Toys come in, we're on about a 6 to 8 week delay for a lot of products. So
okay, so 6 to 8 weeks will put you maybe 2 weeks before Christmas, if you're lucky. So keep in mind, if you got kids at home, you either want to buy them clothes now or buy them a book or something, because chances are toys and gadgets are just going to be hard to find. Now, here's the other problem, is the psychology of the people around you, right? People don't find what they want, or they perceive that you're taking something they need more than you do, and you're going to see those lashing out situations that we've seen in the past. So
come Black Friday, there's not going to be much left on the shelves. So really right now is the best time to buy.
That's incredible. What are the toy trends this holiday season? What do you think will be hot?
Yeah, there's a couple of really big trends. One of the main ones that we're focused on the toy.
all right, so we're going to drop that because I'm not really interested in which toys are going to be exciting for the kids this year. But you see how these things all tie together, right? Because we're in a global economy, for all lack of a better way to say it, things are going to tie together. They're going to hit each other. So if you have a fuel issue, it's going to affect other things. If you have a shipping issue, it's going to affect other things. If you have shutdowns because of illnesses or some other civil unrest, it's going to affect other things. These things don't operate in a vacuum. Now, what we have is the illness, the cooties going around, and you have shutdowns. You have people having to stay home from work because their kids are not in school. You have other people where the kids are not getting food. If you haven't seen Angry Prepper's lunchtime video, was this week, he mentions that some of the New York City public schools are stating that they're having trouble keeping food in stock for the kids' lunches. That's a big deal, because think about it. New York City Board of Education is a massive buyer of food. If anyone had power of the buyer, it's New York City, and they can't get the food, and it's not arriving in time. The suppliers just can't do it because it's not there. That's a problem. Okay. If large entities are having an issue getting supply, you're going to have an issue. So be maneuverable. Now, not only the power of the buyer, but also leveraging substitute items. Find those other gifts, find those other things that you can use to get things moving forward. Let's see. There was another article in here, not about. Nope, that's not what I was looking for. I had another article for you, and I cannot find it. Now I feel, oh, well, this one was a happy one. So because of this, you're going to see a lot of companies, are going to change where they're going. So sorry about that. A lot of companies are changing where they are because of this work from home dynamic that's happened. Unless you're in a factory or a packing house, you really don't have to be at the office all the time. This has created a change. Companies, my company, for our offices out here and where I'm at, probably spent $30,000 a month in office space. I mean, we had multiple floors and conference rooms, and now we've got half of a floor on a smaller building that basically has 8 or 9 offices. Nothing's assigned. The team goes in and out as they need. They kind of work remote anyway. We all have home offices now. We have laptops by the company. So, if I have to go to Starbucks and log on, I can do that. So it's basically a landing strip where you get to have meetings and do paperwork and then go home. Companies are evolving to match their circumstances. And then this is a good video right here we can listen to, because Tesla's moving after all these years.
Elon Musk joining Joe Rogan for a third time on the podcast. And get this, he's bullish on Texas and on Austin.
That's going to be the biggest boom town in the American scene in 50 years.
Yes, I agree. Yeah. I think so.
Mega boom. I think we do need to make sure that Austin does not, people move to California don't inadvertently recreate the issues that they have moved, that caused them to move in the first place.
Yeah.
So we know Tesla is building a Cybertruck in Austin. Oracle's moving their headquarters there. Apple's investing $1 billion to expand their Austin campus. And unicorn darling Bumble's based in the city. So technology moving to Texas and to Austin is a great thing, but maybe not the monolithic, singular, ultra-liberal group think that Musk probably doesn't want to see.
Okay, so it's interesting here. Oh, sorry about that. Advertisements. Interesting. Elon says hopefully they won't recreate in Texas what they did in California. So we just, those of you who are Texans, you have your new people coming in, educate them. Don't be douchey to them, because then they're going to do what they did in the other state they came from. Quite honestly, the New Yorkers and East Coasters I've run into so far actually came here because they don't want that, and we're different here. So just saying, there are certain decisions in the states that have not been good. But again, politics aside, the fact that Tesla is moving, they're looking for more favorable work environment, different type of worker, availability of space. They're moving to a new model where people can work remotely and then come to the factory as needed. A lot of these things are factoring in. So we're watching an entire business economy and manufacturing economy and the tech economy all evolving at one time. Then you add to it the shortages, the cootie, and unrest in China and all sorts of other crap. There's a lot going on, and it's just disrupting the crap out of everything. So do your shopping early. Make a list. Be systemic. I keep saying this. Be systemic. Make your dollars count. Here's another one for you. This one should not have a video, if I recall correctly. Yep, no, it does not. Here we go. Bam. Headline this is from Fidelity.com on their public page. Wall Street week ahead, energy price spike adds market risk as earnings arrive. So again, the energy is only adding, it's compounding the issues, right? Now, not only do we have too many ships, not enough truck drivers, the truck drivers that are there are paying more to get product to you. The companies are paying the drivers overtime because there are not enough drivers. So they're having to pay extra drivers on their days off, whatever. They're incentivizing these folks to continue moving product. And then the gas prices are going up. So stocks rebounded this week after Monday's losses left the S&P 500 down 5.2% from its record high. A truce in the U.S. Congress to avoid a debt default provided some relief, but investors remain worried about inflation. Another thing we're talking about. So the sooner you get your stuff, the less likely your inflation's going to get worse before it gets better. It will eventually level out. I mean, if it explodes, then we have a whole different problem than buying Christmas gifts. We will be having issue finding bread. But the inflation will probably get worse toward the end of the year before it gets better. So, and it may not, I may be wrong, because the velocity of money can reduce inflation. So if the money starts changing hands and people start buying stuff, it'll alleviate the inflation a bit. The problem is, if there's nothing to buy, the money is not going to go anywhere. You're not going to have that velocity of money to bring that, move the GDP higher and bring that inflationary effect lower. So, and I'm no financial analyst, and I probably need to say that. This is just observations on my part. I highly recommend you guys go to some of these websites I've shown you and do your own research. I learn something every time I put one of these videos together. Anyway, energy costs are a major factor for inflation and will be a key topic as companies report third quarter results in the coming weeks. Oil prices have surged more than 25%, with Brent topping $80 a barrel. West Texas Intermediate, as of this morning, was 76. In the midst of the Rona, it was 30. When we had crazy high gas prices back toward Obama's last couple of years, it had the opposite effect. It was 100 and something. Now, the energy companies were all happy. They're like, whoa, money, but then everyone else got screwed, and then it collapsed the economy the other way, and it caused a shortage. Rather, it caused a decline in the market. So we're going to find out if this piece of inflation puzzle is the straw that breaks the camel back and actually starts cutting into margins. So here he's talking about profit and loss and that kind of thing. But again, yeah, these all play into each other. So you're going to see those inflationary effects, the shortages going into the end of the year. So plan ahead. Be systemic. Look for those sales and do it sooner than later. Hell, if you can go out this next weekend and just knock out a bunch of Christmas gifts and go, everyone's getting a gift for $20 and that's what they get, great. Get creative. Maybe make a gift. I mean, there's a bunch of YouTube sites that do that. But you guys kind of see the big picture here, right? This kind of stuff is just going to cause us more problems. We need to be ready to deal with those contingencies. So, guys, as I said, this is a pre-recorded. If I do my business right, I should have it set to be a premiere so you guys can chat. I may or may not be able to be on the chat. I might come in and say hi real quick. Just got plans this coming weekend, but I did want to at least leave a video out there for you guys to kind of think about some things this weekend and also get a chance for you guys to chat with each other if I'm not on the video. So once again, this is the Roaming Prepper, Pete here, and thank you so much for joining me. I hope you learned something. I did doing the research. I learned something all the time. Godspeed if you're traveling, and if you are traveling for holidays or getting ready to, Godspeed for those journeys as well. Be safe. Pay attention. Remember, crime goes up during the holidays because people like to steal shit from other people. Especially with the economy the way it is, you're going to see that crime spike. Have situational awareness. And if you can help someone else out or encourage them to be prepared and be aware, do so. Until next time, God bless, take care, and we'll see you on the next one. And don't forget, buy earlier. It'll make your life